I'd like to acknowledge that we have Reverend Twana Malone in the house. From Virginia. Wow.
Yes.
Thank you. So before we get started, as we do on every Sunday, I'd like us to take an opportunity to engage in the act of humanity, to be with each other, to take a moment to say hi to somebody, look in somebody's eyes, give them a hug, let them know that they matter. Come on, let's do it.
Somebody. You matter.
Oh, we are going to Spain. Let me tell. You matter.
You can get one of these.
Thank you. I'm just videotaping everybody. That's my job. How are you? Very good. Good to see you. Hi, Silva. Hi, my love. How are you?
So this month we've been talking about change, change. And today we are working with principle number 10 and number 11. Principle 10 states, we believe in eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givenness of life to all. And number 11, we believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, but we understand that the life of all is God. We've been talking about change as it relates to science of mind, and we've been using the textbook, the introduction to the Science of Mind textbook the last 3 Sundays, and this Sunday as well. There's 4 chapters in the introduction to the Science of Mind textbook. And the chapter 4 is how to use it. So the chapters that we've looked at is the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. Change, change, change. And what we are realizing is that this introduction is packed with details, with information that if we don't take time to pause and to be with it, we might find ourselves stuck right where we are. So it's an opportunity there for us to look at the foundational and perhaps the fundamental teachings of science of mind and of ancient wisdom, because science of mind is ancient wisdom. That's what it is. And at the core of the teaching then is this idea of choice. At the core of the teachings is this idea of choice, and some of this, for some of us, then this idea is new, and for some of us, today perhaps will be a reminder that we are always at choice. And I wanted to read a little bit from the Science of Mind textbook, from the chapter How to Use It. I'm starting on page 58. Ernest Holmes says, we should spend much time in in the reading where he says treatment, what we're talking about is our thoughts and our words, okay? So Ernest Holmes says, we should spend much time in convincing ourselves of the truth of our treatments. Now, this is not a power of will, but a power of choice. We do not put the power into the treatment, into our words, and we will take out of the treatment only as much as we believe is in it, in our own words and our own thinking. If one doubts his ability to give an effective treatment, he should specifically treat himself to remove this doubt. He should say something like this, but not necessarily these words. I am convinced that this word has power, and I firmly believe in it. I trust it to produce the right results in my life. We should work not with anxiety, but with expectancy, not with coercion, but with conviction, not through compulsion, but in a state of conscious recognition and receptivity. We do not have to drive or push, but we must accept and believe. We should then leave everything to the law, expecting a full and complete proof of our faith. We shall not be disappointed nor charming, for the law is our faithful servant. And that's from the Science of Mind textbook. And I want to read just a little bit today. I know I'm reading a lot today. I'm sorry for those who don't like all the reading. I'm reading today from Howard Thurman. Yay. Deep is the Hunger. I'm reading on page 94 and 95. He says here, to be alive is to participate responsibly in the experiences of life. He says, because of the myriad yieldings of many forms of life, we are able to live and carry on. This means that our life is not our own. Every minute of our life, we are faced with relentless urgency to make good in our own lives for the lives that are lost for us. Quite consciously then, I see my responsibility to all that has gone into the making of me, not only in terms of food, but also in terms of the total contribution that has been made to my life, both by the past and the present. I must live my life responsibly or lose my right to self-respect and integrity. This basic fact has profound bearing on the notion of freedom. Freedom means the possession of a sense of alternatives. It does not mean the absence of responsibility, but it does mean a sense of alternatives with reference to the experiences of life. If it be true, as we have pointed out, that to be alive is to be under active obligation to many other units of life, then the measure of my freedom is the measure of my responsibility. If I can do as I please without any sense of responsibility, then my alternatives are zero. I must select, must choose the option which will make possible the largest fulfillment of my own life, plus the other lives of which I am the shared expression. One option is always available to me. I can choose the things for which I shall stand and work and live, and the things against which I shall stand and work and live. To yield this right is to fail utterly my own self and all others upon whom I must depend. The highest role of freedom is the choice of the kind of option that will make my life not only a benediction, breathing peace, but also a vital force of redemption to all I touch. This would mean, therefore, that wherever I am, there the very kingdom of God is at hand. Change, 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 choice. So many of us have let all that has happened to us in our life, all the things that we perhaps didn't want to happen to us, all the things that we are not happy about that happened to us, all the things that might be happening right now that we are not happy about, that is seemingly happening to us. Many of us have let these things take over our life. We've let them just pile up, and get to a point or come to a point where we find ourselves perhaps thinking that we are without choice. And because we think we are without choice, then we lose our desire to live. And we lose our desire to live. And because we've lost our desire to live, we don't ask questions about anything. And last week we said to question everything. To question the thoughts that you are thinking and what you are thinking about the thoughts that you are thinking. Question it all the time. Because the thing is that when we don't question, there's nothing to choose. You don't give yourself a choice in the matter. You simply accept it. And we are at choice. We are free to believe that our limited perspectives and our viewpoints are the truth and nothing but the truth. You're free to believe that. You're free to choose that. If not, then our choice is to use what has been given to gain a greater understanding of life and what's at hand through the imparting of high ideas. And high ideas are infinite ideas. They're unending. They're always available. There's more and more and more and more and more and more, right? That sort of thing. Through us, to us, that is us. We're talking about change. How to use it. Then we must be willing then to slow down long enough and to slow down in a way that is consistent when we're doing it day after day after day after day, and where we are persistent in being present with our thoughts and the things that we are thinking. We have to make a commitment to be consistent and persistent in doing this, to be present with our thoughts until we become very clear about what we're thinking about. Until we become very clear about what we are thinking about, consistently questioning then what we believe. Asking questions like this of ourselves. Where did this thought come from? Whose belief is it? Who's it belong to? And does it serve me? Asking questions about our thoughts and our thinking. Is this thought serving me? Is it shutting me down, or is it opening me up? The thoughts that I'm thinking, shutting me down or opening me up? And if you don't know whether or not your thoughts are shutting you down, if it is a thought about the past, it's shutting you down. If it's old thinking, old ideas, if it's from the past, it is shutting you down. If you're on repeat, and all you can think about is what happened 100 years ago, if all you can think about is what happened 5 months ago, if all you can think about is what happened a minute ago, you're shutting down. And so the choice then is that we can hold on to these thoughts, or we can allow a new idea to begin to emerge and take over. We can allow a new idea to emerge so that we can begin to gain new perspectives on life. It's our choice. I had to go do something in the earlier part of the week, and I met up with this guy that I know, and so I was just asking him, how are you doing? And he was telling me how I was doing. I said, so what's new? And he told me that he had purchased a drone for his niece and his nephew. And I said, oh, a drone, that's interesting. Do you have a drone? He said, yeah, I'm into drones. And so he started to tell me about drones, that they're light, and that they are compact, and that you can carry them around. And matter of fact, he had just got back from a trip to Germany, because there's rules in flying drones. And the rules in Germany are relaxed. So you can pretty much go and fly your drone wherever you'd like to fly your drone, as long as it's, in the specifications that's laid out. But there's a whole lot of rules to flying drones. So he was going on and he was telling me about the drone and how the drones have these magnificent high-tech cameras. And so his fascination with the drone was that he could send it up in areas that he couldn't get to. It's an unmanned vehicle is what they call it, right? And so so he was talking about his drone, and it can fly as far as 8 kilometers. I think it's maybe about 5 or 6 miles. So from where you are, you can manage it, manipulate it, operate it, and it's someplace else. And so then I said, oh, it's really, really interesting. I'm really interested. So I'm wondering why you would want to fly a drone. And he said, as if I knew, to get a different perspective. I said, that's a good idea. I know about getting different perspectives. And so then he opened up his computer and he had all these pictures that he had taken when he had gone to Germany. And he was flying over the castle in Germany, where the castle that they use in the Princess stories. And he was showing me all these pictures, and he twirled the pictures around, and he said, see, I have all of these different perspectives. And I thought, oh, of course. We have to be willing to go very high in our thoughts and in our thinking, so that we can see and be available to something that we've never seen before. So I thought, well, you can't get a new perspective just sitting here. You've got to fly high. Now you have to understand there's rules, and there's rules to using it. You can't manipulate it, you can't manage it, you can't put anything into it, and you can't take anything out of it. You can use it. The rules, one more time. You can't manage it, you can't manipulate it, you can't put anything into the law, and you can't take anything out of the law. You can use it. One more time. The rules in using it. You cannot manage it, you cannot manipulate it, you cannot put anything into it, and you can't take anything out of it. But you can use it. We got it. And so, Ernest Holmes said then that many of us, we spend too much time in the theory and too little time in the practice, too little time using it. Because the truth of the matter is that your thoughts and my thoughts from on high, drone-like, that our words, our thoughts that's converted into words are equipped with power and the volition, you see. They are equipped enough to pick you up and turn you around. Your words, your thoughts have the power in them, as we said last week, to change lives. Your words, your thinking has the power to change things in your life. The word alone, because it takes over. And once we allow a new idea to be born within us, to unfold through us, it has enough power to sustain us and maintain us. You only need one new idea. It is enough to change your world. One idea. You only have to choose and decide that one moment I'm going to let go of my own thinking. One moment I'm going to let go of my old ideas and become available to something new. Just one time is all it takes. It's a new idea that emotes a new emotion that is full of love and joy, excitement. Something different from whatever you were feeling before. And that is enough then to change your life, to change things in your life. It'll set you free in your thinking. It'll set you free. And so, too much theory, not enough practice, and many of us, we need all the details. We gotta have all the details. Fail-proof. Now, with the drone, there's a fail-proof system built into it. But the only way that it's fail-proof is that you have to establish it. You have to establish for it a home, right? So that when you fly your drone, if it loses connection between the person who is navigating it and the signal that it's tied to, if you have established a home place, it will, from 6 miles up in the air, find its way back home. But you have to establish where home is. You have to establish where home is. And if all we can be concerned about, or all the things that we are concerned about, is the details, wanting it to be fail-proof without establishing home, then we never use it. We never use it. You have to establish within yourself something that is eternal, something that is always available. You have to be consistent and persistent in being present with your thoughts, what you're thinking about. Fail-proof. And some of us, we are sorting out the source. It's very important for some of us, the source of the ideas, and it's fine. It is all important, and it all has its place and its space in this teaching. And it's the big and there's enough room then for us to, if we choose to use it. You can do all of that, and you can engage in the act of using it. You can begin to look at your thoughts and what you're thinking and decide if this thought is yours or if it belongs to someone else, if you want to keep it and continue to create from it, or if you'd like to be open and available to a new idea. You get to choose. And many of us, we won't use it because we don't believe that we have the power through our thought alone to change our life, to change things. We are sitting with the idea that something outside of us has power over us. And some of us are skeptical. Some of us are a little shaky in our belief. Some of us have one foot in and one foot out, right? It's like Lucky, my cat. He's always on his hind feet, right? One foot in, one foot out. And so, like other faith traditions then, we too come face to face with the ultimate question. Do you believe? Do you believe? come face to face with this question on a daily basis. Where am I in my belief? Where am I with my thoughts and my thinking? Where am I with being consistent and persistent at finding time to become available to looking at the thoughts that I have, what I'm thinking about? And are you willing to take responsibility for your life? These are the questions that we are confronted with daily. Are you willing to take responsibility for your life? As Dr. Howard Thurman said, are you willing to engage in life? Are you willing to engage in living? Are you willing to be moved to a new perspective? Are you willing to see something that you've never seen before? Are you willing to experience something that you've never experienced before? Are you willing to believe that life can be better than it is today? Are you willing to accept that there's more joy available to you than you ever imagined? Are you willing to believe that there's more peace right where you are, right here and right now? Are you willing to believe that heaven is at hand? Are you willing to believe that everything that you need, you already have? Are you willing to believe that everything you need to change your life right here and right now, you already have and it's within you? Are you willing to believe that everything is at hand, that heaven is right here and right now? Are you willing to believe it? Yes. Daily, we get to ask ourselves these questions, to be engaged in life and living. We have a responsibility to those that were before us. You see? To be willing to desire, be willing to become someone new. I wasn't always this. I wasn't always willing to get up here and to speak the truth as I see it and I know it. As I have fallen in love with, as the song said this morning, I had a revelation. Yes. One day while I was in prayer, my life for God, ever so true. Are you willing to? Do you believe that one thought alone can pick you up and turn you around? It's your choice. You get to try it out. You get to use it. All of us, it's available to all of us. It doesn't play favorites. It is a no respect of person. So all of us, no matter what we are going through, if we so decide to, we can use it. Yes. And I know change sometimes can be a little risky. It can be a little risky. But all it takes is one idea to pick you up and turn you around. If you don't get excited about that, see, you've lost your desire. All your desire is out the door. If you don't get excited about the possibility of the next second, if you don't get excited about the possibility of what your life can be, if you are not excited about life, if you are not excited and enjoy about the possibilities, you've lost all your desire. All it takes is one idea. It's enough to animate, to pick you up, to turn you around, to change your life, to place your feet on solid ground. It is, I know it is. So, we've got to practice. There's no time like the present time. So, I would invite you all to take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you are feeling like you're all right to do that. Now I'm going to change things up a little bit. We're not in with, and so it is, and we can move into our song, okay? But right now, I'd like you just to take a deep breath. In this moment, allowing yourself to think of God and all that God is. Whatever you can muster up to think about God. If it's only one thought, that's enough. If your only thought is that God is love, just be with it. God is love. God is love. Whatever it is. And now know that all that God is, that you and I, we are. old ideas. Set them aside long enough. Know that all that God is, you are, and all that God is, I am. And now begin to bring your awareness to your breathing. As you recognize that you aren't doing a thing to make it happen. It just is. Become aware of the faith that you have around this isness. You know that your next breath awaits. And begin to come even more aware of your faith. The faith you have about the next breath. Begin to realize that you have no doubts. No doubts in this moment about it. None of us do. And now let that faith take over you. Rest in it. Be in it. And now in this moment, choose to be in this moment, to have faith in the great law to work through you and for you. Choose to, in this moment where you are already in faith, to know that the whole universe is supporting you and is desiring only the good that you desire. And just for this minute, for this moment, begin to affirm that this inner spirit, the inner guide within you, that that which is within knows that it knows that it knows. Affirm that something within you knows. And now, if you choose, call to mind, bring forward in your mind's eye, just for a moment, anything that is causing you pain, physically, mentally, anything that is disturbing your soul. Just for a moment, allow it to come forward in your mind's eye. And now become present and aware of your thoughts about it. Begin to see what you are thinking about it. Begin to see the thoughts that you are thinking about the thoughts that you are having. And if those thoughts are past thinking, if you've already had that thought before, choose now in this moment to declare, no, not now. When the thought comes, a thought that you've had in the past, you've already had it, it's no longer serving you, you can choose in this moment, no, not now. Not now. And now know in this moment that you've chosen, no, not now, that you've become available to a new idea. That now in this moment, a new idea can emerge and flow through you. And as it does, affirm then that I am a center in the divine mind. A point of God-conscious life, truth, and action. Affirm my affairs are divinely guided and guarded into right action, into correct results. Affirm everything I do, say, or think is stimulated by the truth, and the truth alone. Affirm now that there is power in your word, in the word that you speak, because it is of the truth, and it is the truth. Affirm within yourself that there is perfect and continuous right action in my life and my affairs, and that all belief in wrong action is dispelled and made negative. Affirm now that right action alone has power, and right action is power, and power is God, the living Spirit, Almighty. Affirm in this moment that this Spirit animates everything that I do, say, or think. Or affirm that ideas come to me daily, and these ideas are divine ideas. They direct me and sustain me without effort. Affirm now in this moment, if you choose, I am continuously directed. I am compelled to do the right thing at the right time, to say the right word at the right time, and to follow the right course at all times. All suggestion of age, poverty, limitation, or unhappiness in this moment is uprooted from my mind and cannot gain entrance to my thought. Affirm now, I am happy, well, and filled with perfect life. I live in the spirit of truth and am conscious that the spirit of truth lives in me. Affirm now in this moment, my word is the law unto its own manifestation and will bring me or cause me to be brought to its fulfillment. Now, there is no unbelief, no doubt, no uncertainty. In this moment, I know, and I know that I know.